Normally, my videos start with some sort of an edit along with my intro, but today it didn't feel right to have an edit or an intro for this particular video. This is because I'm going to talk about something very serious that happened on Instagram. This week, the 90 Day Fiancé profile posted a reel of an intense fight between Rob and Sophie on The Last Resort. It is a clip of episode 11, and it was posted the morning after the Last Resort episode premiered. And in the comment section of that reel, Sophie posted a shocking comment about Rob. If you are not looking at your screen, it reads, "I was protecting this man is why I didn't want to show receipts to embarrass him, but I actually saw text showing that he was involved with a man while he was with me, and I don't care to protect him anymore. That man hates me because he is gay and can't accept it, and he takes his anger out on me and is abusive towards me because of that. And he sent himself that text 2 years prior during an argument. He literally knows WTF that situation is. I'm tired of this man being protected. He is a very sick individual." She then goes and posts some very alarming and disturbing stories on her Instagram as receipts of his behavior. But before I show those, I want to break down what she's saying in her comment. Some people watching this video without context might be already a little confused, like what texts is she talking about, or asking what happened on The Last Resort that finally made her decide that now is a good time to post this. And that's a good question. The Last Resort is only one of the multiple shows Sophie has been on with Rob. And the answer to why, I think, is because of what happened on episode 11 this week. During the episode, there was a big, intense fight between Sophie and Rob. There was a big buildup over multiple seasons, and I think that her watching this fight led to her reaching her limit. So here is a quick recap of this big buildup and some of their history. We first met Rob and Sophie on the original 90 Day Fiancé. They met online and got the K-1 visa to bring Sophie to the US. She arrived, Rob did a lame dance, and it didn't take long to realize that we don't like Rob or his outside bathroom very much.
You have to walk across the courtyard to get to it, which I can see that being annoying.
Rob is what Sophie's mom called a knob, and I could see why. He really came off in his segments as a dick. Like, for example, not being able to admit that Sophie wanting an inside bathroom was not too high of a standard for someone to have.
What's even bougie about having a bathroom inside your apartment?
I'm gonna bring you down to earth a little bit. You wanna be with me? I'm a down to earth person.
But there was also Sophie herself. She seemed very young at 23, and she didn't seem to know what she wanted out of life yet either. And I mean, being engaged to this guy, no one was rooting for this to work out as we watched. And their plan to get married started to make less and less sense as their season progressed. Rob, over the episodes, didn't seem interested in trying to improve his situation. And Sophie admitted to be wrestling with her sexuality and comes out as bisexual. Nothing about their relationship screamed, "We are ready to get married." And eventually, we also ended up finding out that Rob was online cheating before Sophie even came to the US. Even more of a reason not to get married in the 90 days. They had all of these issues, and yet, in the end, they did actually go through with getting married. On Happily Ever After, a 90 Day Fiancé spinoff they were cast on after they were married, we returned to catch up with Rob and Sophie. And like we all expected, their marriage did not start off well at all. It was actually going worse than we expected. Sophie found out the true extent of Rob's online cheating.
I found all these texts, all these other girls on your phone from the whole 4 years. It was like 50 on your phone, Rob.
Their storyline becomes a cycle of them not getting along and Sophie moving out, and then trying to work things out and her moving back in again. The never-ending cycle got very frustrating to watch. Sophie wants to fix Rob, but Rob doesn't think he has anything to fix. Instead, he just sounds like more and more of a nightmare to be with.
I encourage you.
Do you not count the toilet roll papers of how many I've used?
People using it,
Who
that's
uses a whole
weird.
roll of toilet paper in a day?
It's not a day.
The show tried to add in some different storylines to break up the repeated story of moving out and making up, but it still was very tedious to watch. Especially by the time we got to the Happily Ever After tell-all. This is when Sophie seemed to be noticeably done with the relationship. She seemed frustrated, annoyed, over the entire thing. And you can really see it when there's a scene where Rob and Sophie are fighting for the millionth time, and Sophie says she has receipts proving that Rob told a girl to come meet him. She ends up not finding the recording she had and gets upset. And rightfully so. No one was calling out Rob on this tell-all. Everyone in the cast seemed to just get along well with Rob. Rob the Knob was hiding himself quite well. But these two did seem to absolutely hate each other. And as much as I didn't like Rob, I was annoyed in my happily ever after videos at Sophie for still sitting next to him, because she was complaining about their relationship over and over, but also was still trying to fix things when it just needed to end. I believed her anytime she said that Rob had done something shady again, but I also got tired of hearing her complain about it. And that was because I was also hearing that her and Rob were filming for The Last Resort Season 2. And sure enough, they did appear on this new season together, still trying to work things out, while also still fighting just like before.
I'm not talking about a situation that happened when I was 14. I'm not. I'm sorry.
Exactly. But you lied to me, though. You lied to me.
So what happened on The Last Resort that finally made Sophie get pushed so far over the edge that she decided to out Rob like this on Instagram? And what did she mean by saying, "I'm tired of this man being protected"? That part of her comment really stood out to me. On the first few episodes of The Last Resort, it seemed like they were in fact broken up, but also it seemed like they were in a good enough place to get along okay.
I don't know. I think therapy will be good. I think it'll be good for us to both maybe like heal a bit and figure out our own issues.
So really, it takes a while for the true Rob the Knob to come out, to the point where even Natalie starts to think that Rob is somehow this great guy.
I feel like you love her more than she loves you.
Not that she's ever really a reliable witness at all, but he starts to slowly show his true colors. At first, it's just Rob insisting over and over that he is the one trying to make things work in his relationship.
Here I am, willing to try anything, and she stops herself, so she stops us.
That is our relationship, of me doing what there is to do, and Sophie just somehow it's just not what it's just not enough.
And then finally on episode 7, when the cast is out at the bar, Rob's true self starts to make an appearance. But the weird part to me about this first time we see it is that it was initially edited out of the episode. They show this clip on Between the Sheets of Rob freaking out, and it was labeled as a never before seen moment.
What? Yeah, there it is. There's Dick Rob.
How about
I don't want to listen to you bull.
Leave.
Trying to paint this picture as such bull.
Van, please.
And I think it's weird because why would they cut that out? It's actually very dramatic, and the producers love drama. Rob actually gets out of the car with his box of steak and runs into the desert.
I was hurt, pissed off, had a box of steak. I was ready to camp out.
Like Paul did, or Liz did, or Mike did. Why would they cut that out? You only see it on Between the Sheets. This is the first time I noticed that they cut out Rob being the true Rob that we know. But it's not the last, which you'll all see later in this video. I also thought it was really interesting that Jasmine says that this is the first time seeing this side of Rob. She was on the other 90 Day shows with him, so he must have been really good at hiding Rob the Knob in front of other people.
I'd rather walk 60 miles home than to sit there and let her paint this picture of me as this bad person, the problem, the one who just can't get right when it's bull.
This is not the only big outburst of his that the cast ends up seeing. Episode 11 is when the cast goes camping. And while I don't believe for a second that any of them actually slept in those tents, I mean, there isn't even some sort of mat to go underneath the sleeping bags. You're gonna tell me they just slept on a sleeping bag on the ground? I will die on this hill. I don't believe that. I do believe, though, that Sophie did once again find something on Rob's phone. If you have not seen the episode, basically everyone wakes up after pretending to sleep in the tents, and Rob mentions that Sophie was acting weird this morning. Sophie pretty much says that she's frustrated because no one is seeing what is really going on with Rob because he is nice to everyone.
He's been texting women the whole time during this resort. Yeah, he's still all that I left him over, he's still doing it during therapy.
So she shows Jasmine something that she found on Rob's phone. But we as an audience don't see what it is. Jasmine just ends up reading out one part of it, and it says, "If you're down to be adventurous, let's explore." We find out in Sophie's stories that this is what Rob's dating profile says. But in the comment she wrote, she says that she actually saw texts showing that he was involved with a man. And I could be wrong, but I think that she showed those texts to Jasmine and they edited it out. Because she goes to call out Rob, and I could see how whatever she saw was upsetting because she decides to confront him in front of everyone.
And he's still messaging other women trying to have sex with them. and he's on dating apps.
She tries to expose that he's pretending to fix their marriage at the retreat and then talking to people behind her back. He has said over and over that he's been trying and says that she has not been trying.
Oh, I love her. I'm trying.
You're
with
not
her.
trying.
You're not. You're not
trying at all. And you
Yes,
haven't
I
tried
am.
for over a year.
So this turns into Sophie saying that Rob was on a dating site 2 years ago, and Rob saying that Sophie told him it was okay to date since they were separated. And I noticed a few things about this. The biggest one is that Jasmine is really quiet, and Sophie is only talking about the dating apps from supposedly 2 years ago. But Rob just completely goes off.
I was only on a dating app after Sophie told me to go talk to other women 10 times.
I felt like she was holding something back, and it sounds like in this comment she was holding back finding texts between him and another guy. I'm guessing too she probably rewatched this scene and then felt like she needed to say all of this after the fact.
Make me the dog, put me in a doghouse
He's
and
guilty.
tell me
Why did you tell Rob to go date other women?
I never said that.
wow.
The focus becomes Rob saying that Sophie said he could date other people. So Rob looks through his text to try to find the proof to prove that Sophie is wrong.
She said right here, hi, as of March 4th, 2023, me and you are on a break and I give you permission to act single and will not hold this against you.
The therapist ends up coming over and tries to help them talk about it. Sophie points out that Rob can't just talk without shouting, and even with the therapist there, he really can't control himself.
He's not taking this seriously.
What are you talking about?
So wait.
Oh my God, yeah, listen to her.
Sophie kept turning away while the therapist said that they needed to have some space. And now I think that she was just holding back a lot of things she could have said then, but decided not to and ended up having a panic attack. Because after Rob stomps away, throwing a tantrum,
You know, you had a real one.
Sophie calls her mom hyperventilating in the bathroom.
He's horrible. He basically just showed everything that he's always done to me every day to everyone.
You can't tell me that this is all just from an old dating profile from 2 years ago. There is no way. Jasmine ends up coming in and getting Sophie to come out of the bathroom. I said earlier that I think Sophie showed Jasmine Rob texting someone else, not just a dating profile. And something else that I think confirmed this in my head is that on Between the Sheets, when this fight is shown, she doesn't say a lot when Brandon asks questions.
But did he do it?
He did.
What was the evidence?
He is active in the dating site.
When was he last active? Did it say on the profile, active 3 days ago or something? How come we didn't, show the phone to the camera and see, look, see right here, active?
Jasmine tends to overshare, and yet here she doesn't say any details. So the focus is all on the dating profile from 2 years ago that is supposedly old. So not only am I questioning that, but also on Between the Sheets, they end up showing a never before seen moment, again, with Rob, and I think it's absolutely suspicious that they edited this part out.
No, your mom's a crackhead. That's why she don't like me.
What? Why did they edit that out? They edited out something that happened for 3 seconds. Why would that need to be a never before seen moment? So that's 2 scenes where they edited out the worst of Rob's tantrums. 2. And both for really no reason. I find that to be so suspicious. So strange, right? It's not like these are boring deleted scenes. It's actually hiding how much of a villain Rob really is. They have no problem editing Natalie to be as crazy as she is, but they hide the peak bad moments of Rob? Come on, that's weird. That makes no sense. So going fully back to this comment, let's talk about Sophie outing Rob for being gay. We know from the past that Rob has had an OnlyFans. A source told In Touch magazine that Rob would talk to men and sell pictures to men for pay. People have also seen snaps of him bending over naked and doing some things. So her claim that Rob is gay, I wasn't extremely shocked by her statement, but I was shocked that she outed him in an Instagram comment when she herself has come out as bisexual. Outing someone is not okay ever, and doing it in this way is not good. Saying he hates her because of it, I think it was a bad choice on her part. But it seems like it's coming from a very emotional state she was in, probably from rewatching this fight on The Last Resort. I can see why she was emotional, because along with that comment, Sophie posted Instagram stories claiming that Rob was abusive towards her. So, trigger warning on these, she references abuse and a cut on her face. These stories are upsetting. So the first story is Rob's dating profile she found him on at The Last Resort. It says what Jasmine read. If you're down to be adventurous, let's explore. And then it shows a cut above her eye she said is from Rob pushing her into a table when she tried to break up with him. She says that she was scared of him and still has a scar on her eyebrow from the stitches. It just gets more and more sad and scary from there. She shows clips of him throwing things at her when he was mad. In the next story, she claims that he's in the closet and hooked up with a guy while they were married. And then there's a recording of Rob throwing away her belongings in the trash because she left her makeup out.
So you're gonna throw my stuff in the bin?
That's the only thing I can think of because that's the way you sound.
You're gonna
You're
throw
not giving me
my
any,
belongings,
You're not giving me any
my
answers.
expensive wigs, my things in the bin, in the trash.
You're not giving me any answers. You're not saying, I swear to God, I'm not gonna move I'm not gonna do that.
So if I leave some makeup out, you're gonna throw it. If I leave anything out, you're gonna throw it away. Yeah?
If I throw this table away, and then I come into this house, and you're getting ready to go out for the night, and your shit is everywhere,
you're gonna throw
I'm throwing your shit away.
On the bottom of the story, she says that because of this, she had no belongings, no money, and he would not buy her food or clothes, and she had to beg for basic needs. And then a part of the video shows him throwing her table and stuff in the trash. She also talks about how she had panic attacks because she had so much built up trauma, and says that no one saw it because he was so nice and fake to everyone at the last resort. But in private, he was evil to her. She then shares a recording of Rob threatening her, saying he will break her phone so that way she has no way of contacting anyone.
Keep playing with me. Keep playing with me. It's not yours, Sophie. You haven't paid a fucking dime towards that.
And claims that he was going to drop her off in the street with no way to get home. And the stories end with her explaining how she's been quiet for years protecting him and it made her look crazy. She took a long time to post evidence and hiding it was taxing on her mental health. She wanted to show this now so her actions could be more understood. And Rob had a short response to this in his stories saying, "Don't believe everything you hear. Believe half of what you see. What a shit show." He later wrote this long message to someone denying all of Sophie's claims. Rob's response reads, "First thing I will say is I've never hit a woman in my life, not ever. I'm also not gay at all. It's 2025. I wouldn't need to hide it and I'd be a lot more successful in Hollywood if I were. Trust me. But it's just not me. Lastly, I have openly apologized to Sophie in front of the world for being mean. Well, this is her recording me being me. Disregard that my wife was clubbing and not coming home for weeks. Disregard that I only ever asked her for consideration around the house. I blamed myself for everything when she finally moved out officially and I tried to fix it. I shouldn't have ever gotten angry, but anger in response to wild disrespect was all it ever was. Never physical. I also never threw any of her stuff away. The table I threw away was my table. She said it was ugly and it made the apartment feel like a man cave. So I got frustrated and threw it, right as she tried to act surprised that I was throwing it. I let myself get frustrated with her. Our season of Happily Ever After was filmed after all of this. I know I was wrong for ways I had treated her, that's why I put up with so much to try and make it up to her. But this, in response to having one receipt for an accusation, is just wrong. He's basically just denying everything. So this was a lot. But the main things I get out of this are, I find it odd that The Last Resort edited Rob to be less of a villain than he really was in these episodes. Villains on reality TV have been created on shows with a lot less. Sometimes they can even do it with creative editing, just taking certain things out of context. And I think it's also weird that they pretty much exposed that they did that on Between the Sheets. I don't know what the point of that was. Did anyone else just find that to be completely insane? Either someone on that production team really likes Rob, or they are again just choosing to ignore abusive people, like how they keep bringing on Angela. And it seems like they're even willing to edit things down to keep these people on the show. But fortunately, it seems like Sophie and Rob don't seem to be together anymore. Her stories are disturbing, and I hope that Sophie stays very far away from Rob. These are very serious allegations against Rob, and the stories she showed are scary. I hope that she can continue to heal from all of this. I'm sure watching the show now doesn't help. But there is one thing I do keep thinking about. I do believe Sophie, but what if she shows up on another spin-off with Rob? I feel like that would discredit all of this for her. Stay away from Rob, Sophie, please. And stay away from the 90 Day Fiancé franchise too, please. They are willing to make Rob look better than he is. And that's just wild to me. That's crazy. Her stories that she posted and the editing choices of the show are bothering me. I don't know. Let me know what you think about this. I don't feel like this is the end of this. I feel like we're going to dive deeper into this when the tell-all airs. Make sure to follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. And also, this is my QR code to my Snapchat. Make sure to follow my public profile. I will be posting often on there. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye!